I go to get my 2-year degree. It's AC. With a world-class teachers are all one big family. It's AC. With an education that'll keep you coming back. It's AC. Allegany College of Maryland is where it's at. Touching lives, changing futures.
Knights, inward, face.
Please stand for the count. Please stand for the count. Detail. Halt. Left. Hey. Present. Halt.
Please join me for the pledge to the American flag and stay standing for the national anthem. I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Knights, left and right, face. Left, 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 left. Knights, forward, march.
Please be seated.
Good afternoon, everyone. I'm Kim Leonard, and I have the pleasure of being the chair of Allegany College Board of Trustees. On behalf of Allegany College Board, we welcome you all. We're really glad that you've made this a priority to be part of this very, very, very special event. This is done very, very seldomly. In fact, I don't remember it being done before. The board is honored to recognize the college's founding president, Dr. Robert S. Zimmer, by naming this theater in his honor. I'm sure that we all leave and will all leave this room today with an even greater sense and appreciation of the college's earlier years and the work that took place to lay the groundwork that makes this place we call Allegany College of Maryland. I would like to extend a very, very special welcome to the members of the Zimmer family sitting here in front, and would like to especially recognize Mrs. June Zimmer. June, would you like to stand for us, please? I'd also like to thank many other people that are here today, just to name a few. Certainly the Allegany Highlanders, Scottish Rite Knights of St. Andrews, and they deserve a welcome. So thank you very much. The WCI and NBCI Color Guard, thank you very much as well. Certainly the Allegany College of Maryland Student Choir under the direction of Melanie Gashler. Melanie, thank you very much. You did a great job. C. Wayne Skidmore, Allegany Highlanders. He's back here somewhere. So thank you for doing this for us. City of Cumberland, Maryland, Mayor Brian Grimm. Brian, thank you very much for being here. County Commissioner Bill Valentine. Bill, glad to have you here. And certainly many other guests that will be introduced during the program. I would be remiss if I didn't mention that the board has also recognized Dr. Ardell Haynes, second president of Allegany College of Maryland, and we have named the College Center Lounge in his honor. And Dr. Alexander, our third president, by naming the library, and Don's here with us today. Would you stand, Don, please? We're certainly thankful for the outstanding leadership of the college over the last 50 years, including the leadership of our president, who is here today, obviously. Cynthia Bambera has joined us about a year ago and has served in that year as capacity of our fifth president and has done that very, very ably. We are very, very proud of our past presidents of this college, and she will be added right into the mix of people that we really, really appreciate what they have done for this college. So Cynthia, would you like to come up and say a few words, please?
Mr. Leonard, thank you very much for that introduction. I welcome you today on behalf of the college, our faculty and staff, and our students. It is good to see so many friends from the community and members of the Zimmer family. We are glad that you're here with us today. As many of you already know, the college is celebrating 50 years during this academic year. It is especially fitting to recognize Dr. Zimmer on this momentous occasion. Please join me this afternoon as we reminisce about the past and honor Dr. Zimmer and those who were involved with the creation of this institution. It is a day like today that also reminds each of us about the importance of this college to our community and our mission, which states, Allegany College of Maryland is a lifelong learning community dedicated to excellence in education and responsive to the changing needs of the communities we serve. A friend of the Zimmer family, Doug Schwab, will now read the prayer of dedication that was first recited during the 1961 campus dedication.
This prayer of dedication was read by Rabbi Max Salinger November 12, 1961. God of knowledge, who teaches knowledge to man, to you our lips utter praise and thanks that we live in a land of freedom, whose institutions promote the growth of all. As we open the doors of this new-founded institution of learning, we pray that your blessing rests upon those who had the vision and valor to plan this college, upon those who strengthen and support it, and upon those who administer, who teach, and who learn. Wisdom shall enter into their heart, and knowledge shall be pleasant in their soul. Solemnly now we dedicate this Allegany Community College to know wisdom and instruction, to comprehend the words of understanding, to receive the discipline of wisdom, justice, and right, and equity, to give prudence to the simple, to the young man knowledge and discretion, to the wise may hear and increase in learning, and the man of understanding may attain unto wise counsels. As we dedicate this institution, may we dedicate ourselves to the proposition that reverence of the Lord is the beginning of knowledge, for without such reverence, all our learning is but a tool for brutes. May this college become a blessing for the Allegany community, and from the forested slopes of our beloved Maryland, cause the world of the psalmists to echo and to re-echo. Let the mountains bear peace to the people, and the hills through righteousness. Thank you. Amen.
It is said that a photo is worth 1,000 words. A brief PowerPoint has been developed which shares some photos of Dr. Zimmer over his lifetime. Please enjoy.
Once upon a time there was a tavern where we used to raise a glass or two. Remember how we laughed away the hours. Think of all the great things we would do. Those were the days, my friend, we thought they'd never end. We'd sing and dance forever and a day. We'd live the life we'd choose. We'd fight and never lose. For we were young and sure to have our way. Da 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 And the busy years went rushing by us, without our sorry notions on the way. If by chance I'd see you in the tavern, we'd smile at one another and we'd say, those were the days, my friend, we thought they'd never end. We'd sing and dance forever and a day. We'd live the life we choose. We'd fight and never lose. Those were the days.
alumni and their many accomplishments, both those who have completed degrees and those whose lives have been enriched by their association with us. I have the special privilege to introduce to you a member of the first graduating class from Allegany Community College. The spring 1963 class had two graduates, Mary Louise Jones and Margaret Wingfield Pennington. While we mourn the loss of Mary Louise Jones, I am pleased to introduce Mrs. Margaret Pennington to share a student's perspective. We welcome you here today, Mrs. Pennington.
Thank you. Dr. Bambera, Dr. Alexander, distinguished guests, family of Dr. Zimmer, ladies and gentlemen, I am the class of 1963, and I remember Dr. Zimmer. Dr. Zimmer was a man with a vision. From the beginning, he saw a college that would grow from its humble beginnings on Frederick Street into a facility that would serve a larger community. He and his family moved to Cumberland and became a part of this development. His wife often came to functions at the school and added a touch of finesse to any affair. And she's every bit as gracious today as she was back then. We all loved her. She would come to the school and sometimes bring the children to the ball games, and we'd sit and play and have a good time. His was not an 8 to 5 working day. Classes ran from 8 a.m. until 10 p.m. And if Dr. Zimmer was not in the building, we knew he was attending meetings to establish accreditation or possibly meeting with the county commissioners or state officials to discuss further building plans. From day one, we were told that a new campus was in the big planning stages, and Willowbrook Road was mentioned as maybe the location of a new facility 10 years down the road. All that you have today was planned during those first 2 years. Anything that needed to be done, Dr. Zimmer gave the authority to students to produce it. A logo, school colors, a yearbook, basketball team, cheerleaders, newsletter, student council, and much more was accomplished through perseverance and hard work. Funding was secured and things happened. We had no computers, no cell phones, no iPods, and we couldn't tweet. I do remember we had a typewriter, and I think it might have been electric. We also had that old ditto machine to reproduce things, not nearly as neat as the ones we have today called copiers. It wasn't unusual for city or state dignitaries or county commissioners to be seen walking the halls assessing the needs of the college. The State Board of Education officials made periodic visits to make sure accreditation plans were on schedule. The Board of Trustees spent many hours in the building also looking things over and making plans for the future. Dr. Zimmer made sure that all these things were in place by May of 1963, when 2 students were awarded an Associate of Arts degree with full accreditation. Dr. Zimmer always went above and beyond the call of duty. 2 years after I graduated from ACC, he came to Frostburg State College to present my Bachelor of Arts degree to me, proving that ACC was a stepping stone to a 4-year degree. Dr. Zimmer was respected by the community and was known as a person of great integrity. He had the foresight to know that there would be a greater need for community colleges where students could get a start on a career path that would last a lifetime. If you are currently enrolled, I want you to know that this is your launching pad. You can go anywhere and do anything you want to do, thanks to the insight of Dr. Zimmer. This college is a fruit of his labors. It was fun and exciting being a part of that plan. Thank you, Dr. Zimmer, for being a visionary.
Thank you very much for your remarks. I'm equally proud to recognize the many faculty and staff who were critical to the establishment of this institution. Mr. Roy Weed served as the first business manager at Allegany Community College and has traveled from Florida to be with us today to recognize Dr. Zimmer and to share about the early days of the college. Thank you for your leadership to Allegany Community College and for your willingness to share some comments. Welcome, Mr. Weed.
Greetings from St. Augustine, Florida. And many thanks to those who planned today's event and invited me to participate and share a few words. The printed announcement and invitation that I received were very beautiful. First class. My problem was that picture. I recognized Bob Zimmer on the left, but I couldn't identify the other face. Sometime later, I realized both were Bob Zimmer. Change is constant with all of us. You already know my name. What you may not know is that in 3 weeks, I'll be 89. That's why when I speak in public, I now use a manuscript rather than an outline on a 3x5 card. Like Bob, I've added several chapters to my life since Cumberland days. Change doesn't bother me. Like changing rainbows, I've traveled many times to many places. Grade school to grade school, 3 high schools, World War II, I served and volunteered both stateside and in the Pacific. Studied at several universities and graduated from the same theological seminary as Martin Luther King Jr. I'm the ramblin' wreck that never got to Georgia Tech. Today we're celebrating the life of Dr. Robert S. Zimmer, who was my friend and leader and president of this college. Bob Zimmer introduced me to Allegany County to participate in establishing this college and wished me well when we parted. I could tell you many stories about those early days which would make you proud to be a part of this school. I've been associated with several educational institutions. No president I've served was a better organizer and leader than Robert S. Zimmer. We faced and overcame many difficulties and challenges, predicaments, and only once did I see him lose his cool and throw a pencil across the room. The night before we were to open the doors and begin registrations, Bob called the 4 or 5 of us together and asked me to lead in prayer. He was a good man. He recruited a remarkable faculty and staff which produced an accredited college during its 4th year of operation. And being part of such an achievement resulted into what is now Allegany College of Maryland. A relocation, a new job, involved the entire family. And Cumberland welcomed us, and we quickly adjusted, participating in many community activities. The two older children both graduated from Allegany High School. Margaret in the class of 1964, and Charles in the class of 1966. Margaret married Bill Van Armour, Jr., also a member of that class. And some of you may have remembered his father, Dr. Van Armour, who was part of this community for many years. Jane, 67 years, my wife, was unable to come, but without her, I probably wouldn't be here today. Barbara, our third child, was only 2 when we moved to Cumberland, and now we have 2 great-grandchildren, both born September of this year, 5 days apart. Charles, my son, is seated here today. He made arrangements to get me here, and for which I am very thankful. May Allegany College of Maryland continue for many years with this theater, a tribute to Dr. Robert S. Zimmer, its first president. Thank you for the privilege to participate in this celebration of his life and the dedication of the Dr. Robert S. Zimmer Theater. General Douglas MacArthur, who I encountered twice, first in the Philippines during World War II, and then again several years later on a street in Chicago. And one thing I will always remember, speaking to the United States Congress with that distinctive gravel voice, General MacArthur quoted an old Army ballad, "Old soldiers never die, they just fade away." I am no hero, but a willing participant. I wasn't a soldier. I did my time in the U.S. Navy. And one of these days, I'll put out to sea and sail beyond the horizon. Amen and amen.
Thank you, Mr. Weed, for being here with us today, and thank you for taking the time out to help your father as well. We appreciate your comments very much. I've had the pleasure to meet Dr. Alexander during my tenure here at Allegany College of Maryland. Don retired in 2008 after a distinguished 37-year college career, including 28 years as president, the longest-serving president of any Maryland community college. Don, we welcome you back today to share some comments as a colleague and friend of Dr. Zimmer.
Thank you, Dr. Bamber. It's great to be here and look around and see
people I've worked with for many years, and this seems very familiar to me standing here in the theater. I noticed some of the board members that I worked with came in the door. Jim Ortiz is here, Howard Buchanan, let's see, Bernice Friedland, Ivan Hall. It used to make me nervous when we'd get that many board members together and have a majority. But now that I'm retired, hey, I don't care. It's an honor to be here, really, and Dr. Bambera, Mr. Chairman, June, Chip, Marty, all the family, outstanding family, and it really means a lot to me to have been asked to say a few words about my friend Bob. He was an extraordinary man, to say the least. A man forged by his upbringing, by his family, by war, as you saw, and by the Ten Commandments. This man was a hero and changed many people's lives through his dedication and hard work. And he was also a real personality. I was giving some thought the other night to what made his personality so magnetic, and that's what it was. It was magnetic. And I was thinking, well, is it the big smile that was always on his face? Because I never saw him without it. Was it the way he lit up when he saw you and came over and grabbed your hand and squeezed it? Or was it that ornery grin he'd get once in a while when he had a one-liner or two to say? And he did keep a lot of humor in the world. I would have to say that. I'd see him in church a lot. And he was an usher. And he would escort people down the center aisle, usually. And I walked in one day, Alice and I did, and he came over and shook my hand. He says, boy, I'm really tired. And I said, why, Bob? What's the matter? He said, every woman in this church wants me to walk down the aisle with her. I said, oh, okay. So at that point, he put his arm out. Alice grabbed a hold of it, and they were gone. And she kept looking back, and he leaned over and said, don't worry about him. I haven't lost one of them yet. He was a real character, a real great guy. He and I had a lot in common, he said, and the lot was this college. But he also had a friend came up to about here on him. And when he introduced him, he said, we have a lot in common. I said, yeah, what? He says, I'm 6'5" and he's 5'6". Those are the kinds of things that would come out all the time. And it made you laugh, and it was great. It was great to be around. It was all those things that really put together this man. And as I looked up with him, talking with him, I used to think, and I couldn't help but wonder, what this 6'5" man must have been like when he was 18 years old. When he strapped up his boots, slung a gun over his shoulder, and went off to fight a war in Europe. In the hot sun, in the dust, in the rain, in the mud, in the snow, as you saw, in the ice and the freezing wind. What must it have been like when his commanding general, George S. Patton, told Eisenhower that he could have divisions of the Third Army in the Ardennes forest within 48 hours to repel Nazi forces and rescue that group of airborne soldiers at Bastogne. That was quite an effort. And if you want a little recommendation about reading some things about World War II, that's one I'd really recommend, is reading about Bastogne, where our 101st Airborne unit was surrounded by Nazi troops. And I think you all know the story about that. They didn't have much of anything left. They were issued like 8 bullets a day to hang in there. And there are a couple great books about it that talk about it. One is Stephen Ambrose's book, Band of Brothers. And another one was written by a fellow by the name of Kosciuszko, George Kosciuszko, and it was called The Battered Bastards of Bastogne. I don't know if you read that. Chip probably read it. I'm sure Chip has. But that particular title, The Battered Bastards of Bastogne, came from a poem that was written in the Philippines. Roy was talking about the Philippines. If you recall, when America entered the war, we didn't have enough equipment or trained personnel to really dive into the Pacific theater. So the Philippines was left alone. And those people there battled a lot, and they ran out of everything. They were cut off from the world, no communications with anybody. And a GI there wrote a poem called The Battling Bastards of Bastogne. So you can see how he got that. And that particular poem, by the way, just in a few lines, always fascinated me because it summed up what the real feeling was and the situation was in the Philippines. And it went like this: we're the battling bastards of Bastogne. No mama, no papa, and no Uncle Sam. No aunts, no uncles, no cousins, no nieces, no pills, no planes, no artillery pieces, and nobody gives a damn, and nobody gives a damn. In just a few lines, that communication was better than a standard report from the U.S. Army. And in Bastogne, if you recall, the commanding general there, a guy by the name of McAuliffe, was told that he should surrender before he was wiped out. There was no hope for these guys. And his reply was, nuts and UTS. The Germans didn't understand what that meant, but all of America did. You know, we're not giving up. We're tough, we're gonna fight you, I don't care what it is. You think we're gonna give up? Nuts, that's it. And that's the kind of people that were around in those days. That was Bob Zimmer. That's what forged him a lot. And after Patton said he could be up there in 48 hours, they actually pushed for 48 hours straight. No sleep, no rest. Bob was telling me about how tanks would slide off the elevated roads, how they'd try to bring them back up, and then they couldn't, and they'd just have to leave them. And cold, icy, just terrible conditions. And so what happens when you go 48 hours without sleep or rest? You enter the biggest battle of World War II, the Battle of the Bulge. The biggest battle that ever was fought by an American army. And you think, you know, will it be my last day, my last hour, my last minute here on earth? Yes, Bob Zimmer was a hero. You better believe it. A member of the greatest generation, as was Roy, as is Roy. I often think about what it must have been like to have been recruited by a group of leaders from the community here. He had a nice job in Montgomery County, at Montgomery College. And they said, how about coming up to Allegany County and you, by yourself, start a college? But knowing this man and what he was made of, you can understand that nothing frightened him. I see that no fear on back of cars sometimes. That's what I think of. Bob Zimmer, no fear. He just did it. He developed a curriculum. He recruited some outstanding faculty, one of whom was George Hazen, who's recognized for the naming of the art gallery right next door here. George was a great guy and one of the most brilliant people I've ever met. And he not only recruited the faculty, but as you heard here a couple times, he had accreditation in record time. I used to hear this all the time. I did a lot of work with the accrediting agencies in Philadelphia during my years here. Allegheny still has the record of the fastest accreditation. It's just amazing. And before he left the college for another college, Bob designed a new and comprehensive campus and acquired the funding for the original buildings that appeared on this campus. Several years ago, the Chamber's Allegany Leadership Group was meeting on campus, and Bob and June stopped by. You remember that, June? I remember asking them to stop in and say hello to this group, maybe talk about the college. They walked right in, and I remember introducing Bob, saying, how often do you get a chance to talk to and ask questions from a founding president of a college? And he did a great job about some of the things that occurred during this time. I think Roy did a great job of summarizing that, Margaret also. One of the things he said was he put the entire faculty in a station wagon and drove to Philadelphia to Middle States. And he told me a story about when they had their first basketball team, one of the first practices they had. He walked by and stuck his head in the door, and the ball happened to go toward him, bouncing toward him. He picked it up. It was about half court. Instead of throwing it back, he shot it at the basket and went right through. Swish. They were saying, do it again, Doc, do it again. He said, no, I don't have time right now. He left. And after he finished talking to the group that day, I asked June to say a few words, and she really touched everybody's heart when she talked about he was working day and night. So she felt it very important that he have dinner with the kids. So she would pack a picnic basket and go down to the building, spread out a little blanket, sit around and have a picnic. I mean, that's how they got to spend time with their dad. And he was just working day and night. Another time I mentioned he and June were on campus. We had a press conference. We were talking about some of the new things we were doing at the college. And when I finished, I noticed he was there. I finished and I was hoping he would approve. He came up to me and he said, Don, you're doing a good job, but I have one suggestion for improvement. I said, what's that, Bob? He said, get yourself a bow tie. Now our college has an enrollment of over 4,000 students and serves over 8,000 a year in professional and continuing education, business and industrial development, and workforce training. Has a beautiful campus and, most important, a lot of really caring people that spend a great deal of time, personal contact with students. I've never seen a place like this. And you might say, well, you spent most of your career here. Well, every 2 years during my tenure here, I chaired an accreditation team for Middle States. And I visited a lot of community colleges in a number of states. And I never once said I would ever trade and go somewhere else because of the people who work here. They're outstanding, and they do change people's lives. I used to be very touched by our commencement speakers when we asked students to speak. You know, we have a lot of students that came through here that had a tough life. They had a lot of setbacks in their lives. You just wouldn't believe some of the stories. But they're all happy when they finish up. Their happiness in becoming a nurse or a dental hygienist or a respiratory therapist, an automotive technician, or having had the opportunity to study the arts and the sciences, the humanities, social sciences, and many other programs. Those graduates, when they speak, describe how their lives have been changed by this college. And Bob Zimmer started it. And he started 2 other colleges. Those colleges changed the lives of thousands of people, and they'll continue to do that in the years ahead. That's quite a legacy for a man. So think about it. whether saving lives in Belgium or changing lives back home. This man's efforts never were anything short of heroic. Thank you.
Dr. Alexander, thank you so much for being with us today and celebrating this very special moment. We are pleased to welcome Amy Schwab Owens, who will be reading a letter from her brother Sam Schwab. Sam had to be out of the country and extends his regrets for not being here today. Sam was a friend of Dr. Zimmer and was a member of the Boy Scout troop for which Dr. Zimmer was actively involved as an adult leader. Amy, we're glad that you're here with us today and appreciate your sharing this letter on behalf of Sam.
I am honored to have been asked to present today in place of my brother Sam, who could not attend because of a trip to Australia. He wanted me to let you know how truly honored he was to be invited to speak on behalf of Dr. Zimmer, who Sam knew when he grew up in Cumberland. Among other connections, Dr. Zimmer was the father of his good friend Chip. Sam asked me to send his personal regards to everyone here today, and he looks forward to seeing many of you on his next trip to Cumberland. He also wanted me to thank Chip for inviting him to make this presentation. Now, Sam's remarks. People strive to make a difference with their lives. Most are fortunate enough to touch those close to them: children, a spouse, friends. If we are blessed, the influence of one's life extends to a broader circle. The rare few create a lasting impact on their community, where generations of citizens reap enduring benefits of their dreams. Bob Zimmer led such a life and profoundly touched the lives and futures of many in the Allegany County area. I was fortunate to know Dr. Zimmer first as the father of my close friend, his son Chip. Whether on the sidelines of a ball field or as a scouting advisor, Bob smiled and offered the encouragement that every young person craves and needs. He showed genuine interest in the welfare of others. An engaging man with a hearty laugh, Bob always provided insight and knowledge whenever you talked to him. Those personal qualities, kindness, empathy, intellect, and energy, provided the foundation for the creation of the Allegany College of Maryland, an institution that for 50 years has shaped the lives of young and older citizens. ACM broadens horizons, helps to create new starts, and fosters personal and community pride. Bob Zimmer loved to educate and believed in the transformative power of learning. Perhaps because he had seen the horrors of war, he committed himself to making life better and creating opportunity for those around him, especially the young. It was a lifelong dedication. Starting as the first president of Allegany Community College, he also touched 2 other community colleges and the Air Force with his educational vision. Bob liked to build, whether it was campuses or spirits. He dreamed of top-flight educators and inquisitive students learning in a supportive environment. That dream exists today. Started and cultivated by Bob, ably and passionately carried forward by those such as Don Alexander and Dr. Cynthia Bambera, who followed him. ACM is a beacon of opportunity. This theater is a wonderful tribute to the vision, dedication, and compassion of Dr. Robert Zimmer. Thank you.
Amy, thank you very much for being here. In 2005, Dr. Zimmer came to campus and was interviewed about the early days and his tenure as president. This DVD is currently in the library, but the college has pulled some clips from the video, and we want to share them with you today.
I think the Board of Education and the Superintendent of Schools determined that there was a need for the college. They had a building on Frederick Street that was available. It had been a black school before the school system was integrated, and it was sitting vacant, and they didn't quite know what to do with it. And I think between Goodloe Jackson and Ralph Webster, they thought it was a good place to put a college, and I think we need one. But the first I heard about it was I was working in Tacoma Park at the Montgomery Junior College at the time, and I was in my backyard mowing the lawn one afternoon and get a phone call from Ralph Webster, and I remember his words. He says, "I don't know you, you don't know me, but we'd like to have you come out to Cumberland and talk about starting a college." And that's the first I heard about it. It was, as I told many people, a 8-day-a-week job, 30 hours a day, and 60 weeks out of the year. It was a total commitment, and the faculty and staff that we got shared that. Many of it, much of it was the excitement of, I guess you call it the pioneer spirit, starting a brand new college. Everything we did set a precedent. And so we opened for classes on the 26th of September, which was unheard of, but we had drawn enough faculty in to get going. I'd rather have students around. We can work with the students. They can help get the college going, and that's what we did. However, I had to put a budget together. I did, and Don Shires came over, and we went over the budget. He seemed to be happy with it. And the next afternoon, Monday afternoon, 3 o'clock, we had a board meeting in my office. All members of the board was there. Mr. Webster was secretary of the board, not on the board. But Goodloe Jackson called the board to order, and the first order of business was Mr. Shires. He said, "I move we fire the presidents." Huh? What did I do? And he looked around, and he said, "Well, as I don't hear any second to that motion, I guess we want to keep him. So if we're going to keep him, we approve his budget." They approve his budget. Bing, bing, they approved the budget. That was it. So, but talk about culture shock. He set me back for good. And we were talking about it, and the question came out, should we go for accreditation or not? And first there was silence, and then they all said, yeah, let's do it. And so someplace along the old Route 40, the decision was made by the faculty that we would go for accreditation as young as we were. Another thing that was against us was that the State Department of Higher Education advised against it. They said, don't even think of accreditation until you have at least 100 graduates and have your building and you know what you're doing. We had 4 graduates, and the schools that waited were still waiting, or waited a long time. But after that accreditation, after our accreditation, we, the faculty and staff of the college, became very popular speakers at the other community colleges around the state. We became accredited within 4 years of starting. We didn't have a very large faculty, and we didn't have very many students.
They remember the faculty socials with the students, how frequent they were and how enjoyable they were when the faculty, the administration, and the students all got together for a time of fellowship.
Yeah, we did a lot of things together. In the second or third year, we started to have lunch with the pres. And I'd take a group of students down to the hotel and have lunch in their dining room. We'd go down about 11 o'clock. So we would be there when the businessmen in the community would see about 11:30 to 12, something like that. So we'd get both sides of the lunch hour. The students always were very well groomed, and we had a good time talking. The members of the community would come in and say hello to them and so on. Took the basketball team down, the student council, cheerleaders, and any group. We'd put them together, and I'd take them down and have lunch with them, and that was a lot of fun.
Many times your family, her and your children would actually join you for dinner here on campus and then go back home. And
Yes.
that was a good memory that she had mentioned.
They'd come down to the Frederick Street building, and our kids were, let's see, they were about 10 and 8 and 10, and June would bring down a picnic supper in a basket and so on, and we would have dinner, and so the family would be together. And the kids would go down to the gym and run around and run off steam, and then when it was time to take them home, I get back to work and whatever was on the schedule and get going. But I found I had to make time to be with them, because this was a critical period of their growing up, and I didn't do as much of that as I wanted to, but I think we did all right. Well, we thought that there was an earthquake, the building was coming down, but I don't know what caused it to happen, but a whole line of shelves, the books went over, and then the next line of shelves went out, and as you said, dominoes hit it. And then picking them up and getting them reshelved was a Herculean task. And the students pitched in, the faculty pitched in. And we got, first of all, of course, we had to get the shelves back up and get them properly anchored, the shelves in, and then to get the books back in place. That was a job. So we got a nice large campus, and from there, the architects go ahead and put the plan together, and it went. We have qualified for some Appalachia redevelopment money, higher education money from both from the federal government, state money, and county money. And the original formula was 50% from the county and 50% from the state. Well, getting the money from the federal people was on top of that. Okay. At one point, we had the new campus funded 150%. And I made the suggestion, well, if you don't need it, I could use it, but I didn't get any of it. But we did get the campus built, and now I had left the area before the construction was done. And my understanding is that it came in below budget and ahead of time. So everything worked beautifully. They were able to occupy it and move in good shape.
And you stated back in 1965, as I contemplate the achievement and growth of our students, I'm pleased. As I visualize the opportunities now available to them, I am envious. As I follow their careers, I am uneasy and as comfortable as a colleague should be. What a profound statement you made, Dr. Zimmer.
Well, I felt very close to the students, and I hope they felt close to me. And we were opening a lot of doors for them that hadn't been available before. And this is scary, exciting, and challenging at the same time. And I felt very close to the students. I had confidence in them, and yet I knew what they're going into, and it made me almost like a parent. It's okay, they're fleeing the nest, so we've done the best we could. I wish them well, but I cross my fingers too. But they, as far as I know, they have all done us credit. Yeah, we've been real proud of them. But I must say, I've never been at a place where I felt as at home, as comfortable, and as loved as I have been here in Allegany County. This is really our second home, and we look on it as such. We just don't get back here often enough, and it's a very large place in our hearts, both my wife, myself, and our kids. This is special. And I really appreciate everything that this town, this community has done. We never had the problem of other colleges, town and gown. It was always, we were together on it. It was great. And thank you for having me back.
Thank you. It's a pleasure to see you, and thank you for coming today.
Again, we are pleased to welcome the members of the Zimmer family here today. I understand that many of you have traveled a great distance, and we're glad that you're part of this event. At this time, I'm pleased to welcome Chip Zimmer, the son of Dr. Robert Zimmer, who will share some comments from the family.
Well, that was a tough act to follow. Thank you. On behalf of my mom, my sister Cindy, my wife Barbara, and Dad's grandchildren, Kate, Laura, Ben, Dan, and the rest of the family, thank you so very, very much. Dr. Bambera, Mr. Leonard, Dr. Alexander, Doug Schwab, Amy Schwab Owens, Mr. Weed, Margaret Pennington, Board of Trustees, alumni, faculty, family, friends, brother Freemasons, and as Dad would say, most importantly, students. Thank you all so much for your kind words and memories of my dad, Bob Zimmer. I'd like to take this opportunity to offer a special thanks to David Jones of the ACM Foundation. David, your respect and friendship with my father and mother and your tireless efforts to make this day happen are truly appreciated. Thank you. We all wish Dad were here to experience this great honor, but I'm sure he's watching us now with that famous bow tie. I don't wear bow ties, but I did today. And that big Cheshire Cat grin on his face that all of you remember. This dedication is truly an honor, which will be cherished for generations. Dad's dream was to build this college on this plot of land. I remember walking it with him, Mom, Cindy, Mr. Webster, and Mr. Jackson. Dad pointed to various places indicating, well, the library is going to be over there. The student union will be there. And as we walked, a covey of quail flushed out in front of us. Dad was nonplussed. He said, well, I guess that's where the fountain's going to be. You may recall he was awfully quick with a witty quip, but he was always saddened having moved before seeing this dream of this campus be realized. This college, this county, and its people were very special to Dad. If the truth were known, this was his special place. I believe that despite his accomplishments, this was a place he always cherished most and wished that he'd never left. As you know, he left in 1967 with the challenge of starting another college in Kankakee, Illinois. I remember him saying that he never applied for that or any other jobs that he got, but was being made offers to start other community colleges on a weekly basis. In 1971, he felt the challenge once again and started another college in Paterson, New Jersey, Passaic County Community College. Finally, duty called once again, and he returned to active duty in the United States Air Force. He moved back to Washington in 1976 to help facilitate the accreditation of the Community College of the Air Force. But Cumberland was always home. The people of Allegany County were and are a treasure that our family will always cherish. We made lifelong friends with the Schwabs, with the Morelands, and with the Consuls. His association with Allegany Shrine Club and the Scottish Rite were very special to him. He was chief raban, next in line to become potentate at Allegany Shrine Club before we moved. He was a past president of the Cumberland Lions Club and chairman of the sports car races. Remember those? He was a deacon with LaVale Methodist Church. And most important, at least to a teenage boy anyway, he was an adult leader with Explorer Post 10 and accompanied us on a 2-week wilderness whitewater canoe trip to Algonquin Park in northern Ontario. While at the same time, Mom not only kept the household going and kept Cindy and me on the straight and narrow, but she served as hostess and first lady of the college. She was president of the Century Club, director of the Girl Scout Summer Camp program at Constitution Park, a Pac-10 den mother, and active in the PTA at Parkside Elementary School. But as much as he gave of himself to the community, you'll never know how much more he received from all of you. To Jane and Leonard Schwab, he was Dr. Darling. To Bob and Gertrude Moreland, he was SOB. Now that was sweet old Bob, though. To the explorers, he was Doc Z. To the students, he was always open. He had a sign made and placed on his door that read, "Students, please interrupt. Visitors will understand." That's out in the lobby when you see it after we're done here today. I remember Dad always spoke to any group that would listen to him talk about the college, PTAs, Rotaries, churches, scouts, anybody. Some of you remember that he certainly had the gift for gab, but he was so excited about it. He often quoted Emerson to us kids, reminding us that nothing great was ever achieved without enthusiasm. As you heard, we're huge basketball fans of the Trojan basketball team. I remember traveling with him to Hagerstown for a Christmas tournament one year, and Mom, being the first lady of the college, embroidered a green and white sweater for our dog Jingle that said ACC Trojans on, and we marched along the side of the basketball court as the team played. I remember watching the Trojans beat the Catamounts at Potomac State. They were our big rival at the time, and others, and was so disappointed when we missed that game against Baltimore Institute. You remember that one? You know what the score was? 210-23. I missed that game. The only game I missed the record-setting game. But you heard it right, 210-23. I remember Mom making ceramic mugs for each member of the team. I still have one that was unclaimed. I think it's on display out in front. I hope if Larry Snyder's here, that your name's on it, so I guess it's yours if you want to claim it. I remember each holiday season having a college glee club from Tulsa come to sing here at the college. We always put a couple of them up in our home. Special memories. He was so flattered when Don Alexander graciously reached out to him and embraced him as part of the ACC family. Don and Alice retired to Williamsburg, just a short distance from Mom and Dad, and even attended the same church. It was such a blessing to see the four of them share memories and time together. Thanks, Don and Alice. It's so special to see many of you here, old friends and new ones alike. I'm especially gratified to see younger members of our family who only knew him as Granddad or Uncle Bob and saw this 6'5" guy towering over them in an Air Force uniform with an eagle on his shoulder. Now hopefully you'll all have a better understanding of who he was as a man and a leader and as a visionary. So as Allegany embarks on its next 50 years, we can all look back at that old school on Frederick Street and this field near the country club and marvel at the vision and dedication of that one man and a community to build what would become the crown jewel of Western Maryland, Allegany College of Maryland. Congratulations on your 50th anniversary. Please accept our deepest gratitude for forever memorializing its founding father, Dr. Robert S. Zimmer, in this meaningful and heartfelt way. Thank you, and God bless you all.
Thank you very much. We now have some proclamations that have been provided, and I would like to invite our guests to come forward and present the proclamations that, first of all, from the Allegany County Commissioners, if Mr. Valentine would come forward.
Good afternoon. It's both a real honor and a humbling experience to be asked to take part in these ceremonies today. I spent my first year of college at the Frederick Street campus in the former Carver School. I believe we had 7 or 8 classrooms, a chemistry lab, and a combination auditorium and gymnasium. But we knew this new campus was on the way. My second year was spent here at the Willowbrook Road campus. At that time, I think there were more dreams than there were buildings here. But those dreams became reality to where we have a fantastic campus today. And it's growing, it's going to get better. This is going to be a very important campus for this county for a long, long time. I would now like to read a proclamation in honor of Dr. Zimmer. Whereas Allegany County government wishes to remember, publicly recognize, and demonstrate respect to the late Robert Spitzer Zimmer, PhD, the founding president of Allegany Community College, for his significant professional and personal contributions to this important institution of higher education in our community. And whereas Robert Spitzer Zimmer provided extraordinary leadership and exhibited exceptional judgment in the critical startup years of Allegany Community College, now celebrating its golden anniversary during the 2011-2012 academic year. And whereas Allegany Community College was founded by joint resolution of the Allegany County Commissioners and the Allegany County Board of Education, and during the inaugural presidency of Robert Spitzer Zimmer, Allegany Community College was accredited by the Middle States Commission on Higher Education, and property was purchased to create the campus on Willowbrook Road. And whereas Allegany Community College became a reality in Allegany County in 1961, and now, a half-century later, Allegany College of Maryland is an invaluable resource for our county and is respected as a vital center of the lifelong learning for citizens and stakeholders. Now, therefore, we, the Allegany County Commissioners, sincerely, humbly, and gratefully commend the late Robert Spitzer Zimmer and wish to proclaim Saturday, March 10, 2012, the day of the Robert Zimmer Memorial 5K Run and 1 mile walk, to be President Robert Spitzer Zimmer Day in Allegany County, Maryland, and encourage all citizens to reflect on the life this inspirational educator and forward-thinking community leader. Signed by all 3 county commissioners, Michael W. McKay, Creed V. Brody, and William R. Valentine. Thank you.
And next, I would like to invite Mayor Brian Grimm to present a proclamation from the City of Cumberland.
It is an honor to be with you here today as a graduate of Allegany College and as mayor of the City of Cumberland, to recognize a gentleman who truly put his hand to the plow and helped to craft our community. And today, on behalf of the City of Cumberland, I offer this proclamation. Whereas Dr. Robert S. Zimmer was founder and first president of Allegany College of Maryland from 1961 to 1967, and whereas Dr. Zimmer was a community leader dedicated to advocating the well-being and improvements of our city, and whereas due to Dr. Zimmer's passion, a remarkable community college was established and still exists today as a quality institution of higher learning and contributing partner to our community. Therefore, as mayor of the City of Cumberland, I do proclaim today, the 9th of March 2012, as Dr. Robert S. Zimmer Day in the City of Cumberland, in honor of Dr. Zimmer's life, and do urge all citizens to support this day in appreciation of the valuable service that Dr. Zimmer provided to Allegany College, the students, and the community, given under my hand of the seal of the City of Cumberland today. Thank you.
And we have Mr. Scuffer from the Cumberland Valley Scottish Rite to present a proclamation.
Good afternoon, everybody. Sir Knight Zimmer, as you are a member of the Scottish Rite and an officer in the Knights of St. Andrew, your father, Dr. Robert S. Zimmer, was also a 32nd degree member of the Cumberland Valley Scottish Rite Masons. And in honor of this wonderful tribute to him today, we of the Knights of St. Andrew and the Scottish Rite of Cumberland would like to present to you this proclamation of respect and memorial in honor of his name to have displayed here in this theater, in honor of his dedication to our fraternity and to this college. At this time, I would like all Scottish Rite Masons and Knights of St. Andrew to please stand. As Venerable Master of the Knights of St. Andrew, I want to thank you and your family for having us here today to honor your father. It is deeply, deeply our honor to be here, and we are very proud to be such a part of a great event. On behalf of the Scottish Rite and Knights of St. Andrew, I would like to present you with this proclamation of respect. You're welcome. And just one other thing, Chip. I was asked to answer a question that I was asked out in the hallway. A person come up to me and said, "Excuse me, sir, is it true what you guys wear under those kilts?" And I looked at him and I said, "Yes, it is. Our shoes." Thank you.
Mr. Ponzillo from the Grand Lodge of Free and Accepted Masons of Maryland.
Thank you, Dr. Bambera. Thanks to Mr. Leonard and all the staff at the college for the privilege of being here and for the opportunity to pay tribute to Dr. Zimmer. I have the good fortune of being here because I represent the Grand Lodge of Ancient Free and Accepted Masons of Maryland, and Dr. Zimmer was a Freemason. He, like so many of us, have an opportunity to play many parts in our lives, and I listened as we heard about the son, the soldier, the husband, the father, the grandfather, the educator, the college president, all those many roles that Dr. Zimmer played. And it's my honor to say that I believe that what we have in this proclamation of sorts describes another facet of Dr. Zimmer's life. Whereas Dr. Robert S. Zimmer served with distinction as the founding president of Allegany College, and whereas his service rendered to education in Western Maryland specifically, and the state and nation, are in the great tradition of American educators who were Freemasons, such as James B. Conant, James Naismith, Booker T. Washington, and so many others. And whereas Brother Robert S. Zimmer was a 61-year member of Arcana Lodge number 1138 of the Freemasons of Lansing, Illinois, and a longtime member of Allegany Shriners and the Cumberland Scottish Rite. And whereas Allegany College is honoring our late brother, Dr. Robert S. Zimmer, for his contribution to the college and humanity, be it hereby known to all who enter this theater that the Freemasons of Maryland join in saluting our distinguished brother for exemplifying the tenets of our fraternity. He truly believed in a brotherhood of man under the fatherhood of God and practiced brotherly love, relief, and truth. May we keep his memory evergreen. Thank you very much.
And just moments before this ceremony began, the governor's office delivered a citation, and it's my honor to read that citation. Governor of the State of Maryland, to the family of Dr. Robert Zimmer, greetings. Be it known that on behalf of the citizens of this state, in recognition of, attribute, to honor, and celebrate the memory and lifetime achievements of Dr. Robert Zimmer, the founding president of Allegany College of Maryland, in appreciation of the positive and lasting difference his leadership made in the growth and success of the college. And as the people of Maryland join in expressing our greatest respect and admiration for the contributions of a distinguished and beloved Marylander, we are pleased to confer upon you this governor's citation given under the hand and great seal of the state of Maryland this 9th day of March, 2012, signed by Governor O'Malley, Lieutenant Governor Brown, and the Secretary of State. And that concludes our proclamations. And Mr. Leonard will come forward.
Thank you, Dr. Bambera. This is quite a day, isn't it? We have a legacy that has developed certainly way, way beyond what we are here today honoring. I would venture to say that humility, certainly on my part, is the call of the day. This man that we call Dr. Zimmer was truly a giant, and a giant among many of us. We can only say words today, but what he has done is transcended words into action. And I can't imagine any better way to leave this world a legacy like he has done. It's certainly now my privilege, on behalf of Allegany College Board of Directors, to officially dedicate this theater that we're now sitting in the memory of our founding president, Dr. Zimmer. This plaque, and David, I'm going to ask you to come down here as well. I think we need to acknowledge David Jones again for all his hard work. This plaque will be forever displayed in our entrance to the theater, and it reads, "The Board of Trustees, faculty, staff, and students of Allegany College of Maryland do hereby dedicate the Dr. Robert S. Zimmer Theater in honor of the college's founding president, for whose vision and leadership established Allegany College on Frederick Street in the former Carver School building, and who laid the groundwork during the college's formative years to ensure that high-quality education is available in Allegany County and throughout the surrounding region." Dated March 9th, 2012. It's really an honor for me to be doing this today, but I'm doing it on behalf of everybody in this room and everybody in this county who really, really, really should be dedicating their time and energy and thoughts today to Dr. Zimmer. So, Chip, you and your family and your sister and all the Zimmers, we really appreciate you loaning us your father and your husband. Thank you very, very much for doing that.
We are pleased that you joined us today. This concludes our ceremony. We have refreshments available in the lounge, as well as some displays related to Dr. Zimmer's service during World War II, and some items associated with the early days of Allegany Community College. Thank you again for being part of this very special event. Please join us in the lounge.
AC. With an education that'll keep you coming back. It's AC. Allegany College of Maryland is where it's at.
Touching lives, changing futures.